Hello, boys and girls. This is a video to help you with today's math lesson, 6-1, the distributive property. So you should have this assigned to you on Seesaw. And this first page is your daily Common Core review. You're going to be doing this on your own, but I'm going to read the problems to you really quick just so that you know what they say. Number 1. At 24 square miles, San Marino is the world's 5th smallest country. Malta is 98 square miles larger than San Marino. How many square miles is Malta? Number 2, Louise wrote the multiplication pattern below. 3 times 9 is 27, 4 times 9 is 36, 5 times 9 is 45, 6 times 9 is a number. What is the missing number in the multiplication pattern? Number 3, which number is a multiple of 2 and 5? And it gives you your choices. 4, Marty is 5 times as old as Cliff. Cliff is 6 years old. How old is Marty? And 5, Jacksonville, Florida covers 758 square miles. Houston, Texas covers 579 square miles. About, which is an estimate, how many more square miles than Houston does Jacksonville cover? Show your work and explain how you found your estimate. Remember, estimate is an about number. So this is a page you are doing on your own. This is review, so it's things that we have all done before. We're going to work on page 2 together. So page 2 is where we talk about our lesson for the day, the distributive property. The distributive property you'll also hear called the break apart property. You're breaking apart a multiplication fact into the sum of 2 other facts. So for example, right here it shows 6 times 4. I don't know why it has 6 times 4 times 4. I think that's a typo. So this shows 6 times 4. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. And in each of those 6 rows, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 circles. We don't really know our 6's yet, and we don't know our 4's yet. So it can be easier to break it apart. They broke it apart this way to be 2 times 4 and 4 times 4. You still have 6 rows, but they broke it to be 2 rows and 4 rows. You could have also broken it vertically this way, so that you have 1 row, and that row has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you have 1, 2, 3 rows. Whoops, I think I broke it the wrong way. Sorry. Here's the easier way. We're going to break it apart right here. So we have 1 row with 4 in that row. I realized my mistake. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows with 4 in each row. And the reason I did it this way is because I know my 1s. Anything times 1 is the same number. So I know 1 times 4 is going to be 4. And I know my 5s. I know how to skip count by 5s. So if I skip count by 5s 4 times, I have 5, 10, 15, 20. And then I can add those 2 partial products, those 2 part answers, which is 4 and 20. And 20 plus 4 will be 24. If I were to break it apart this way, I will still get the same answer. 2 times 4 is 8, and 4 times 4, I've got 4, 8, 12, 16. And 8 plus 16 will also get me 24. So this example up here is to just show you how they broke it into 2 smaller arrays to be easier to solve the problem. Now it's our turn. When I go to number 1, it wants me to draw a line to separate each array into 2 smaller arrays. So this first one, it gives me 1, 2, 3, with 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. So there's 4 rows, and each row has 3. So I'm going to break it in half. That way I can just add the same number twice. Now I have 2 rows And each of those rows has 1, 2, 3. When I look at the bottom half, I have 2 rows again. And each of those rows has 1, 2, 3. So 4 times 3 I broke apart to be 2 times 3 and 2 times 3. And it doesn't ask you to find the answers on this one. But if I was going to, 2 times 3, 2, 4, 6 is that product. 2 times 3 again, 2, 4, 6. And then when I add 6 and 6 together, I know my total for 4 times 3 would be 12 because 6 plus 6 is 12. Okay. Now, number 2 is a little bit harder. It's a bigger array. So I'm going to count how many rows I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. Each of these rows has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I really like 5s. 5s are my favorite because I can skip count by 5s all day, right? We've learned how to skip count by 5s. I don't know how to skip count by 6s very well. I haven't learned that one yet. So I'm going to break apart that 6. Oh, let's just break it in half. Why not? Since my 5s are really easy, it makes it easier to just break it in half. So now I have 5 rows, but now each of those rows has 1, 2, 3, because I stop at that line. Here, I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, and each of these rows has 1, 2, 3. There are lots of different ways I could break this up. I'm going to use green to show another way. I could break it up this way and show 1 times 5 for this part, and then show 5 times 5 for the other part, because I have 5 and 5. And either way, 5 times 5 and 1 times 5 together gets 30. 5 times 3 is 15, and 15 together and 15 get 30. So either way, you're still going to have the same answer because you still have the same number of dots. It's just different ways to get the answer. So let's look at number 3. This one is a little bit trickier because it's a word problem. And remember, you can pause this video and rewatch, rewind, whatever you need to do as many times as you want. Sometimes it takes us more than once to learn a new strategy like this, and that's okay. It says Dawn breaks a 4x7 array into a 2x7 array and another array. What is the fact for Dawn's second array? Write a number sentence that models the relationship of the 4 times 7 array to the other 2 arrays. Whew, that's a lot of words. I'm going to go back and reread it, and I'm just going to do one sentence at a time. Okay, Dawn breaks a 4x7 array into a 2x7 array and another array. Well, that's my first step, is I'm going to do this array. Now on Seesaw, I can use this marker tool and use a bigger dot here to show an array. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 1 row of 7. I need 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 2 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 3 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 4 rows. So 4 rows of 7. It says they broke it into a 2x7 array. So that means that they took that 4 and they broke it in half. So I'm going to draw a line there. And I'm going to make sure that it makes sense. So it says it's a 2x7 array. Well, here's 2 rows, and each row has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, this one shows a 2x7 array. I've got the first sentence done. What is the fact for Dawn's second array? So it's asking, well, we know the top part. What about the bottom? 1, 2, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here I have another 2 times 7. So when I type my answer, I'm going to type 4x7, because that x stands for times, equals, you'll find the equal sign next to your backspace or delete button. And then a parentheses is shift 9 to get the semicircle. And I'm going to do my first fact here, which is 2 times 7. To get the second parentheses, I'm doing shift 0 and shift 9 again. My second array was another 2 times 7, shift 0. And then I'm going to move that down where it's supposed to be. And that's it. So we wrote a number sentence that models the relationship of 4 times 7 to the other 2 arrays. So we've done that part as well. This is what you're expected to show for your reteach. This is what we've done together on Zoom. Now, page 3 is your independent practice. So I'm going to go through it with you really quick, but I'm not going to give you the answers because that's your job. So for 1 and 2, you're going to draw a line to separate each array into the 2 smaller arrays, and then write the facts. So here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows. Each of these 8 rows has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I'm going to break this apart. Now I don't have to find the answer here. I just have to break apart. So let's just break it. Let's break it this way, because this will be an easy way for us to learn. So right here, I've got 1 row with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 row of 8. Then your job, I want you to think, how many rows are there? Or sorry, columns. How many columns are there? And then how many are in each of those columns? Okay. And then you're going to write that part right here. Now for number 2, it's the same thing. You have 4 rows. Each row has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you're going to think, well, maybe I could break apart this 9 this way. What would this array look like? What would this array be? Okay, so you have to draw the line to show where you separated it, and then write the multiplication fact that goes with it. Now for 3 and 4, it's a little different. They kind of did the opposite. They used the smaller array, so they already broke it apart for you using the distributive property, which just means we're breaking it apart. You need to find the missing numbers. You get to be a detective, a number detective, and you get to find which numbers are missing. So it shows us this was originally 8 times 3. And they broke it into 2 times a number plus a number times 3. So this first one right here, this first smaller array is going to be this first parentheses, this first fact, 2 times a number. Well, there's 2 rows. Each row has 1, 2, 3. This second array that they made is going to go in this second spot here. You're going to figure out how many rows are there, and each row has 3. Then your final job is to figure out your answer by adding these 2 partial products. So if this has 2 times 3, which is 6, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 3, which is 18, we're going to add those 2 numbers together to get our final answer. You're going to do the same thing on number 4, but this one's missing its original fact. So you're going to take this partial array and write the numbers here, this array, and write the numbers here. And you're like, Miss Mannering, how in the world am I going to figure out what my other fact is? If you know one of them is 7, you're going to add the other 2 together. So if I have 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Well, they each have 7 in each row, right? There's 7 in each row here. So I used this 7 and this 7 because they each have 7. Well, this one has 3 rows. This one has 4 rows. What is 3 and 4 together? If I were to stack this on top, how many rows would it be all together? And then you find your final answer. All right. Number 5 is kind of tricky. And if you're not sure about number 5, look at reteach number 3 to help you. It's a very similar problem, but with different numbers. Tony broke a larger array into a 2 times 9 array and a 4 times 9 array. What did the larger array look like? So this one, you're doing the opposite. They give you the 2 smaller arrays. You're going to add them together. So this one, I like to use the text tool. If I know 2 times 9, I'm going to make 2 rows with 9 O's in each row. You could also use X's. So I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And do another row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there is 2 times 9. I'm going to take away this box because that box is not helping me out at all. And then it says 4 times 9. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to do 4 rows with 9 in each row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I've got 4 with 9 in each row. So they basically drew the line right here. This whole thing is the larger array. So now you're going to write a number sentence to show that relationship. So it's just going to be like the ones over here. A number times another number equals, whoops. There we go. And like something like this, right? A number times a number, so your total array, is the same as your 2 times 9 and your 4 times 9, which are right here. They give those to you in here. So your 2 times 9 and your 4 times 9. So all of this is part of number 5. You got to get all of those points in there. Number 6, which numbers makes this number sentence true? 7 times 5 equals a number times 5 plus 2 times 5. Well, this 5 looks like it stayed the same. There's 5, 5, and 5. So they kept the number in each row the same. So now I have to look. They broke apart the 7 to be a number and 2. What number plus 2 will make 7? And that would be your answer. Make sure that you pause this video, rewatch all of those things to help you better understand how to do this. 6-1, the distributive property, is really important because we are going to be using this strategy when we learn how to multiply by 3s, by 4s, by 6, 7, 8s, a lot of different numbers. So it's really important that we understand how to do this, and you will still get lots of practice. So make sure you watch the video, rewatch if you need to, and make sure your seesaw assignment gets turned into your teacher. I will see you tomorrow for reading. Bye.